Hi, my name is Catalina von Rasfeld, and this is my OXXO ESG strategic case proposal. First, I conducted a company and market analysis where I found that, according to Santiago, OXXO is the seventh most valuable Mexican company, having a net value of $3,760 million. Also, recently, OXXO achieved an agreement with Telec US Holdings, including the opening of about 250 convenience stores in the United States. 90% of these stores will be located in Texas, and their most sold products are groceries and service payments. Also, I found some problems. First, the high expenses for service payments, the public safety concerns, and the high costs of raw materials. Based on this, I created some objectives, which are the following: to achieve the establishment of all of the US units by December 2027, to reduce energy costs by 40% in 2028, to reduce water costs by 70% in 2028, and to achieve the expansion of the franchise in 3 more states by 2029. This led me to create an external environmental analysis, especially on ESG laws in the United States. Regarding this, I found some energy laws, such as the Inflation Reduction Act and the Energy Policy Act. On plastics and reporting laws, I found SB 1046 and SB 253, which talk about compostable bags and the correct way of reporting. And finally, on waste laws, I found that the EPA released its National Recycling Strategy, which funds recycling grant programs, and the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. Then I created an internal environmental analysis and found the core competencies of OXXO. First, I found they have strong resources, such as their logistics and supply chain, the energy efficiency they're investing on, the brand recognition and customer trust they already have, and the digital payment infrastructure they have with Spin and Spin Premium. For the core competencies, I identified they have a high-density convenience network. They also have integrated procurement and supply management for small formats. They have a customer-oriented decision-making. They have digital and financial services ecosystems, and they are a values-driven company, especially driven by integrity, transparency, simplicity, and commitment. Then I identified their leadership style and the organizational structure. I found that OXXO has a transformational leadership style, which is reflected in their long-term strategic vision, customer-based decision-making, and innovation-oriented transformation. They also have a decentralized but integrated organizational structure, which is divided in 3 main verticals, which is proximity and health, Coca-Cola FEMSA products, and Spin digital ecosystem. These 3 verticals are guided by the FEMSA Forward Plan, which gives them a unified direction of growth, sustainability, and digital transformation. Then I created a strategy based on 3 pillars, which are sustainable store design, green logistics and supply chain strategy, and local sourcing and community integration. Through this strategy, I proposed installing solar panels, recycling gray water, and other things, such as partnering with local producers. I also identified some key stakeholders which need to be included in the strategy in order for it to be successful. First, the government and regulators, customers and local communities, suppliers and partners, franchises, employees, nonprofit advocacy groups, and anti-ESG population and advocates. Then I created an internal operations strategy, which aims for the strategy to become a reality in the daily operations. I decided to do so by integrating 4 pillars, which are sustainable store operations, digital optimization and data-driven decision-making, green logistics and local sourcing, and continuous improvement culture. I also created a change management plan with 8 phases. Some of them include things like creating short-term wins and communicating the vision clearly and frequently. Then I created a 6 Sigma analysis. I defined one of the biggest problems, which is the US energy high costs. I decided to propose some KPIs to measure, which are based on energy indicators. Also, I suggested to analyze the high consumption categories and things like Texas weather. Then I suggested to improve by installing LED lighting and correcting the identified issues. And finally, I suggest to control the advances by having monthly energy scorecards. Then you can see here the MBO, which states the MBO objectives, their specific targets, the measurement, and the time frame. Then I created an ESG balanced scorecard, which takes into account finance indicators, customer and community, learning and growth, and internal process indicators and goals, which will help the company keep track of the advancements. Then I created some OKRs, like this one, which states things like to install solar energy systems in all of the stores acquired in the US by December of 2027. Finally, I created a quantitative analysis and shared value estimates. I found that by this investment and expansion effort, OXXO will be injecting into local US communities about $45 to $55 million annually. I also find that by implementing this energy efficiency strategy, OXXO will save up to $2.3 million yearly and will avoid up to 4,200 tons of CO2 each year. On the water efficiency strategy, OXXO will be able to conserve the equivalent to the water use of 2,200 US households. Thank you for your attention. It was a pleasure to do this project.